Welcome back. This is the third video in the SendGrid tutorial series. And in this one, we're actually going to send an email message. So here we are back in PostMan, and we are going to create a new request. And this time, let's give it a name. We'll call this send single message. And I'm going to just also include this, that it's not using a template, which will become clearer later what that means. And then this particular request is going to be a post request. And let me go grab the endpoint URL over here. So we'll grab that and paste it in. So we're going to be hitting sendgrid.com v3 mail send. Now, looking at the API documentation, there is this mail send article, and we can look here at the mail send endpoint. So this method lets us send mail, and there are a lot of options. And if you go and you look at the request body, you can get a sense of how much customization there is and how many options you have. So I'm not going to go through all the different options. What I'm going to show you is a basic example that just illustrates the core functionality. So that's our post. Oops, right. No credentials yet. I didn't mean to hit enter. So we'll go to the authorization tab, and we'll say that this is going to use our bearer token, same as before. And then we go to the request body, and let me make sure we've got enough room here for the body. And we want to do a raw JSON input request body. And I'm going to grab it from my other screen and paste it in. So now you can see the basic structure of sending a message. So first, this object has a from attribute, which is the email of the verified single sender that we configured in the first video. And then there's a personalization section. So this is a key SendGrid concept. So a personalization really represents a recipient, and it lets you kind of customize it so that each recipient can get a custom subject, and you can also provide some merge data, some fields that can get merged into your message for each individual recipient. So you can see here, there's a to attribute of this personalization, and the email is one of my email addresses that I'm just using. And I'm just saying that the name of the recipient, I've just made somebody up, Sunita Das. And then I've given it a subject. And this is a little bit unusual. What does this mean? Star, name, star. So when you're using SendGrid and you're not using templates, then for the substitution data, it is just going to do a straight string replacement. So it's going to look for any instance of this string and replace it with that string. So there's nothing special about star. We could, for example, I could have said XXX name or just plain name. It's fine. And as long as it matches what's down here, it'll work. But you can see this could be a problem if you use a common word as your placeholder, as your substitution marker, then you actually run the risk that that word will show up in regular text and you'll get substitutions where you don't want them. So I've gone with stars as just a way to make this unusual so we don't get substitution collisions. But again, there's nothing magic about the star symbol. So the substitution for name is going to be Sunita, and the substitution for score is going to be 98. So this ought to read, hey there, Sunita. And then we get to the content. And we've said that the content is text, HTML. And here is the actual HTML content of the message. Dear Sunita, your score was, and it should substitute it for 98. And then another paragraph, thanks. So that is our input. I think everything is set up, right? We've got our endpoint, we've got our authorization. we've got our body. I'm going to go ahead and click send. Are you ready? Our first message. And away she goes. Now what we get back is status 202 accepted. So what that means is that the SendGrid server got the message and it said, all right, I'm going to send that message for you eventually. It's asynchronous. It doesn't happen right away, but pretty soon we should get that message. And if I've talked long enough and I open up my email on my other screen here and take a quick look, there it is. So I'm going to just double click to open that message and I'm going to drag it over here. And you can see this message just came in. Hey there, Sunita. Dear Sunita, your score was 98. Thanks. Okay, so there we go. We sent a single message using the SendMail API via the direct REST integration through PostMan. The next thing we now need to do is actually do this in C#. So in the next project, the next video, we're going to start writing some real code. It'll be a longer video, and we're actually going to get to use the C# library that comes with SendGrid to send a message. See you in a sec.